The first time I saw him, he was standing at the edge of my bed holding one of my electrical cords. He had this crazed look in his eyes like he hadn't slept for days. Then he smiled at me, and that's when I knew I was going to die. It all started with power outages around the city. At first, it was just a few hours here and there, but then whole sections of the grid went down and people started panicking. The news called it a terrorist attack, but no one really knew what was happening. Cell service was spotty at best, and the landlines were completely dead. No one could get through to anyone. It was absolute chaos. I live alone, or at least I did. My wife left me a few months back after I had a psychotic episode and tried to kill her. She said she couldn't take the stress anymore, and she was right. I don't blame her. Sometimes I myself can't take the stress anymore. The voices in my head get too loud and I start seeing red. But I love my wife, and I would never hurt her intentionally. And deep down, I know she loves me too. But as the days passed with no word from her and the power flickering in and out at random, my mind started to race. Was she trying to get away from me? Did she find somewhere else to go? Had she called the cops? All these thoughts ran through my head nonstop. I needed to get out of the house, get some answers. That's when I saw him. In the 2 weeks since the power had been cut, my lawn had become a jungle, and the weeds were nearly as tall as me. As I hacked at them with a pair of gardening shears, the shadows grew longer and longer until finally they were almost completely black. That's when I saw him. He was standing at the edge of my bed holding one of my electrical cords. He had this crazed look in his eyes like he hadn't slept for days. Then he smiled at me, and that's when I knew I was gonna die. I dropped the shears and slowly backed away, keeping my eyes locked on his. I didn't want to turn my back to him. I knew if I did, he would strike. As I shuffled backwards, I tripped over something and fell onto the floor. The killer took a step towards me, and that's when the power went out again. I don't know how long I laid there in the darkness, but it felt like an eternity. Finally, I forced myself to move. I scrambled away from the window and hid under my bed. That's where I saw the first corpse. He was lying face down in the hallway and his clothes were torn to shreds. I don't want to be too graphic, but his skin was hanging off his bones. Then I heard a voice. It was the killer. He was talking to someone on the phone. "Yeah, I got another one," he said. His voice was raspy and distorted. "This one's a little special, though. This one's gonna put the juice back in your Bacchus." He laughed, a horrible guttural sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Tell me, does Bacchus need more juice? Because I'm about to give him a real jolt." And then he hung up the phone. I knew I had to get out of there, but I couldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear. That's when I heard the footsteps coming closer. He was getting closer. I tried to make myself invisible, to become one with the shadows under the bed. But it was too late. He was kneeling beside me in an instant, and I could feel his hot, fetid breath on my neck. "Gotcha," he whispered, and I knew he wasn't talking about a game. He plunged a pair of scissors into my neck, and I screamed as the world turned to black.